When you think of Ella Montgomery, you probably think of Anne of Green Gables. But the Blue Castle, it's a whole different animal. This is a powerful, kind of raw story about what happens when a woman who has absolutely nothing to lose decides to finally live.
Okay, so right off the bat, this slide just nails the entire point of the book. It's all about this transformation. We start with Valency Sterling, this woman who is so beaten down she's practically invisible. But by the end, wow, she's vibrant, she's defiant, she's totally and completely herself. And that journey is what we're going to follow. So to really get this transformation, we have to see where she starts. And in the beginning, Valency's life is just, well, it's one of quiet, suffocating desperation. She's trapped, not just by her family, but by her own deep-seated fears. I mean, just imagine this for a second. You're 29 years old, you're unmarried, which was a huge deal back then, and your own family, the people who are supposed to love you, basically treat you like you're this delicate, useless piece of furniture. Her life is just this bleak, endless cycle of chores and criticism. It's awful. And who's keeping her in this cage? Well, meet the Sterling clan. You've got her mother and cousin Stickles who control every second of her day. Then there are the uncles and aunts, each with their own special brand of misery. And then there's Olive, the perfect cousin, beautiful, popular, engaged, basically a walking, talking reminder of everything Valency thinks she isn't. So how does anyone possibly survive that? Well, Valency does what a lot of us do. She escapes. She builds this incredible, vivid world inside her own head that she calls her Blue Castle. It's this secret place full of all the romance and beauty and adventure that's missing from her real life. It's literally her only source of joy. But then, something happens that changes everything. A piece of news that should be absolutely devastating arrives, and in a crazy twist of fate, it becomes the key that unlocks her from her prison. So picture this. It's her 29th birthday, of all days. She's been having these chest pains, so she secretly goes to see a doctor. That night, a letter arrives, and the diagnosis just turns her world completely upside down. She has a fatal heart condition. The doctor gives her a year to live. Tops. I mean, can you even imagine? This is it. This is rock bottom. She sees her whole life laid out with this horrifying clarity. She feels like she's been a total failure, and now it's almost over. But it's right here in this moment of pure despair that something new starts to grow. And this is where the big psychological shift happens. The ultimate fear, the fear of death, is no longer a what if, it's a certainty. And once that happens, all the smaller fears that used to run her life, what will mother say? What will the neighbors think? They seem ridiculous. They completely lose their power over her. And this is where the fun really starts. Valency basically decides, okay, if I've only got 1 year, I'm going to actually live it. And she starts breaking every single rule she has ever been forced to follow. Her rebellion is just beautiful to watch. First, she just speaks her mind. Can you imagine the shock at that dinner table? Then she starts making small choices for herself. And finally, she takes this massive leap. She leaves home. She actually moves out to become a housekeeper for a dying young woman who's been completely disgraced by the town. I mean, for her family, this is social suicide. And this quote, it just perfectly sums up her new outlook on life. She's at this stuffy family dinner, and someone asks her what the greatest happiness is, and she says it's being able to do something as simple, as human, as sneezing without having to ask for permission. It's about embracing the real, simple, honest moments in life. So she's finally out from under her family's thumb. And what she discovers is, well, it's not just freedom. For the very first time in her life, she finds purpose, real friendship, and, you guessed it, love. In taking care of Sissy, this girl whose society has completely thrown away, Valency discovers her own strength. She's not that delicate, useless creature her family always said she was. No, she's capable, she's compassionate, she's needed. And then there's Barney Snaith. The town mystery man, the guy everyone whispers is probably a criminal or something. Valency, now completely fearless, befriends him. She sees the real person underneath all the rumors, and they fall in love. They get married, and his little cabin on an island, it becomes her Blue Castle. But for real this time. So, think about it. Valency has built this incredible, authentic, new life for herself. But the entire thing is built on one single fact, that she's dying. So, what happens when that fact gets ripped right out from under her? And boom, twist number one. The doctor comes back and basically says, "Oops, my bad. I mixed up the letters. Your heart is perfectly fine." Suddenly, the one thing she built her new world on is just gone. She's not dying. She has a whole life ahead of her. Can you imagine the mix of terror and relief?
But hold on, because the twists don't stop there. Just as she's reeling from that news, she discovers who her mysterious husband, Barney, really is. He's actually John Foster, the famous nature writer whose books were her only comfort, her only escape back in her old, miserable life. The hero of her dream world was the man she married all along. And if you thought that was a big deal, get ready for the final stunner, because Barney isn't just a famous writer. Nope. He's also the estranged son of the guy who invented Redfern's blood bitters, some kind of patent medicine empire. This makes him a secret multimillionaire. The poor outcast she fell for is actually rich and famous. Her world is officially upside down. So, wow, with all of these truths just exploding into her life, Valancy is forced to face the biggest question of all. Was any of her courage actually real, or was it just borrowed time from a death sentence? Suddenly, she has a future to lose, and all those old fears come flooding back. She convinces herself that Barney only married her out of pity because he thought she was dying. So, believing she's trapped him, she runs. She runs all the way back to her miserable family home. But Barney is not about to let her go. He finds her and he just lays his heart out. This isn't pity, it's the real thing. It's deep, passionate love. He tells her he fell for her, the real Valancy, the brave, funny, honest woman she had become. And that confession, well, it changes everything. And that's it. That's the ultimate takeaway. Valancy finally understands that the death sentence wasn't some magic spell. It was just the catalyst. It was the thing that pushed her to find the strength that was inside her the whole time. The happiness, the courage, that's all hers. And it's here to stay. Valancy's story is this beautiful, rebellious fantasy, but it leaves all of us with a very real and maybe a little uncomfortable question. What are the fears that are holding us back in our own lives? And what would it take for each of us to finally stop dreaming about our blue castle and start building it for real?